So there I was, standing behind home plate, trying to call balls and strikes for my little brother's 8-year-old baseball game, when someone hit the ball. But the ball hit the lead runner, so I had to call him out. That's when things went completely nutso. With this being such a crucial 8-year-old baseball game, my brother's coach lost his GD marbles. He kept yelling at me, "You're so wrong! You're the worst ump I've ever seen!" And my favorite, "Your parents don't love you!" After about 5 minutes and 5 adults having to hold this weirdo back, I finally asked my brother's coach to leave the field. "Dad, you need to watch the rest of the game from our minivan." Today, I realized my dad wasn't alone. Well, he was alone in the parking lot. But we need to reevaluate our priorities when it comes to youth sports. From baby gym classes all the way up to high school varsity locker rooms, youth sports are a $19 billion industry that, according to Wisconsin Public Radio on August 30th of 2022, involve millions of parents, coaches, and players every year. The NCAA recruiting fact sheet explains that of youth sports participants, just 2% will earn college scholarships for their talent, and just 0.0075% will go pro. But don't tell that to parents who hang their expectations on our ability to pass, volley, dribble, and do other sports ball things. In her book, Take Back the Game, author Linda Flanagan explains that youth sports are too competitive, too harmful, and too elitist for parents, coaches, and players. So to prevent youth sports from going the way of those big, fluffy, adorable elephants, the woolly mammoths, they didn't make it. I'm sorry you had to hear that from me. We must first look at the ways youth sports are hurting us, why we've become a nation of losers, and how we can save our favorite pastimes before it's too late. You might be saying to yourself, "Harry, do you know where you are? None of us sports." To which I respond, "I play a mean game of pickleball with my grandpa." And also, our country invests more money into youth sports than into the NFL. And I can almost guarantee that almost everyone in this room was forced onto some kind of field by their parents before they were old enough to say, "Brett Favre belongs in prison." Our problem with youth sports is causing serious physical and mental health problems for its players. As college costs rise, many parents mistakenly see youth sports as their star athlete's ticket to a free college route. As soon as kids show promise in a sport, they're likely encouraged by their parents to stick with it. But as the March 2022 issue of Frontiers in Psychology explains, specialization in youth sports before high school can be dangerous to a kid's physical development and lead to injury. It used to be only pro ball players had to get elbow surgery, or had bad knees, for example. Stanford Children's Hospital estimates that of America's 30 million youth sports participants, 3.5 million get hurt every year. And it's not just physical injuries that plague our players. It's the competitive, cutthroat youth sports culture that has made mental health injuries abound. According to the Washington Post on November 20th of 2022, there's often a fine line between tough love from a coach and verbal abuse. When kids grow up with their coaches yelling at them and putting them down for their mistakes, they become high school athletes who believe this type of talk is normal. Parents are also a problem. According to the March 2022 issue of Journals for Applied Sports Psychology, players and coaches are having more negative interactions with parents than positive ones. So why has youth sports participation fallen faster than my grade point average? average. 3 reasons: competition, elitism, and in my case, pre-calculus. First, youth sports are becoming too competitive, meaning a huge segment of kids aren't even being invited to participate anymore. It used to be something like elementary school soccer was a relatively low-stakes sport because anyone can play soccer. But as more parents want to live vicariously through their little superstars, youth sports have become more competitive, with kids as young as 6 years old trying out for travel teams in sports like baseball, hockey, soccer, and dance. And as youth sports have gotten more competitive, their price tags have risen, leading parents to believe that they can buy talent. But if that were true, I'd be playing hockey right now, and not playing speech. Tom Ferry, Aspen, Colorado's executive director for sports and society, explains that travel team culture is on the rise, with more parents than ever willing to write $3,000 checks to get their kids on super teams. When kids leave rec leagues to join travel teams, it creates a classist system. The travel team talent versus the local leftovers. For kids of parents who make under $25,000 a year, they are 3 times more likely to be inactive than kids of parents who make $100,000 a year. Health, it seems, is only for the rich. What's more, explains the October 20th, 2022 Kansas City Star Tribune. The high-stakes youth sports culture is ruining the game in another way, by decimating officials, who are often volunteers or lower-paid professionals who are just trying to keep the games running. Competition and elitism has created such ugly youth sports leagues that no one wants to don the dapper black and white stripes and toss those mouthy dads to the curb where they belong. Except me. I know I'm standing here in a suit on a Saturday giving a speech, which is the exact opposite of youth sports, but I love youth sports, ever since I was old enough to put on shin pads and refuse to play soccer. It may sound cheesy, but being the change we want to see in this world might be the only way to solve our nation's youth sports crisis. I am a Red Cross certified lifeguard who teaches swim lessons and helps kids love the sport of competitive swimming. I'm a baseball umpire certified through Little League, and I'm a hockey referee certified through USA Hockey. Of all of these programs, USA Hockey has the best one for parents, coaches, and officials, and it's one that other leagues need to adopt. Before becoming a coach, USA Hockey trains its coaches on the fundamentals of the game, as well as how to be a coach. Coaches take part in a training about the rules of the game, take a sexual abuse prevention training, and have some kind of on-ice training. Officials follow a very similar course of action. And when we leave our training, we believe we can make a positive impact on youth athletes' lives. In her book, Take Back the Game, author Linda Flanagan writes that we can learn a lot from Norway. Not only do 93% of Norwegian youth participate in youth sports, but they focus more on fun and player development, and not competition. And it turns out this works really well, with Norway having a monster medal count at the Olympics. They play hockey at an elite level, and if I understood the documentary Frozen correctly, they are a mythical land filled with talking snow people who love warm hugs. Flanagan explains that if you want a team that is united for a common goal and purpose, you need to celebrate everyone's contribution, including the one who can't run as fast, or the one who's reluctant to score. Everyone needs to be celebrated, except my dad. It turns out the 45 minutes that old windbag spent in the Little League parking lot watching my little brother's team beat those other 8-year-olds was eye-opening, because he saw that his team played better and had more fun without their coach yelling at them on the field. Similarly, we can solve our nation's youth sports crisis by remembering why we love the game. Because everyone gets ice cream, and youth sports are all about the youth. Thank you.